Move over, lions. Today, we are completely flipping the script on the animal kingdom's hierarchy. Welcome to this explainer, where we're diving into some wild ecological observations about fear and dominance out on the African savanna. And let me tell you, the truth about the continent's most feared animal, it is going to completely surprise you.
I want you to picture the vast, sweeping landscapes of Africa for a second. Now, if you had to guess the absolute deadliest creature out there, the single animal that totally dictates the movements of everything else on the savanna, what pops into your head? Because let's be real, most of us have been conditioned by nature documentaries and movies to picture one very specific, majestic apex predator, right?
Yep, the usual suspect, the lion. And honestly, from an evolutionary standpoint, that makes total sense. Lions are literally the ultimate symbol of predatory dominance. They're these incredible apex hunters that shape the behavior of basically every single prey species in their territory. If you're an animal living in that ecosystem, the lion is exactly what you're supposed to be terrified of.
But, well, behavioral scientists and ecologists who track these complex animal dynamics have uncovered a pretty massive plot twist. It turns out there is a totally different giant out there that inspires way more fear across the entire animal kingdom than the lion ever could. And the craziest part? It's an animal we are all super familiar with, yet we constantly underestimate it.
It's the hippopotamus. Seriously, no way, right? Despite everything we assume about apex predators, scientific observations consistently point to this massive mega herbivore as the creature that animals across the ecosystem fear the absolute most. It's such an amazing revelation because it totally subverts our standard expectations of what a terrifying animal is actually supposed to look like. So when you put these two side by side, it highlights a really vital ecological distinction. The lion is, for sure, rightfully classified as the fiercest hunter. I mean, they rely on stalking, incredible teamwork, and razor-sharp predatory instincts. But the hippo? The hippo operates on a completely different level of dominance. It doesn't even need to hunt to be the most intimidating, immovable force on the landscape.
You see, the true danger of the hippo lies in how incredibly deceptive its biology is. If you see one lounging in a river, they look so calm, kind of sluggish even. They spend hours just soaking in the water, looking perfectly peaceful. But ecologists are quick to point out that this calm exterior is a total facade. It masks a truly terrifying reality. They are absolutely not gentle giants just cooling off. Actually, it's more like they are a constantly coiled spring, just waiting to snap.
To really get this dynamic, we got to look at their baseline behavioral traits. First off, hippos are fiercely territorial. Like, they absolutely refuse to tolerate anyone and anything stepping into their space. Combine that with a literal hair-trigger aggression, meaning they act immediately to defend their zone instead of politely issuing warnings, and, well, immense physical power. The whole shebang creates an incredibly volatile environment for any animal that wanders just a little too close.
And when we break down the anatomy of this threat, there are three main factors that make them absolutely lethal. First, obviously, is their massive size. It acts as an undeniable physical force. Second, and this is the one that catches so many off guard, they have these lightning-fast charges. They can close distances with a speed that totally defies their bulky size. And finally, a crushing bite. When you combine all these physical mechanics, you are looking at one of the single most dangerous animals in all of Africa.
The crazy part is, the rest of the animal kingdom fundamentally understands this threat profile. The danger is so severe the top predators, even entire prides of lions, will actively steer clear of confrontations with hippos whenever they possibly can. Even the fiercest apex predator out there knows that tangling with that specific combination of size, speed, and aggression is just a losing battle. So, they just avoid them. Period.
Which brings us to this really fascinating conclusion from the research. Sometimes, the greatest threat isn't the fiercest hunter. It's the animal everyone knows not to challenge. It's just such a powerful reminder that nature isn't always what it seems on the surface. The ultimate power in an ecosystem doesn't necessarily belong to the animal with the sharpest claws seeking out prey. Honestly, sometimes it belongs to the immovable giant that simply demands absolute respect from everything around it.
It completely shifts how we view ecological hierarchies, doesn't it? So I gotta ask, were you surprised to learn that a grazing river giant commands way more fear than the actual king of the beasts? It really begs the question, how many other seemingly gentle giants in nature are secretly running their ecosystems behind the scenes? Share your thoughts below. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and just remember, out there in the wild, appearances can be incredibly deceiving.